has been some exciting developments in the quest for world peace going on with Ukraine as tensions rise. And there's also a war on Twitter to figure out what should be done. Even Elon Musk really got into it with a lot of powerful people this week, including Lindsey Graham, Senator South Carolina, who threatened Elon after he calls for a de-escalation in the Ukraine-Russia war. So on Monday, Elon posted a tweet still saying, you know, I support Ukraine, but I'm convinced that a massive escalation of the war could cause harm to Ukraine and possibly the world, because if tensions rise enough, it could pull many countries into a nuclear war. We might not have a planet left after it's all said and done, especially with some of the warmongers that really seem to want to get into a conflict. So Elon posted a poll on the end game in the war, and in his response to the question, he was slammed by all the pro-war critics. The worst reaction came from Ukrainian ambassador to Germany, who actually made it personal. Andrzej Menek, pictured there, told Elon to fuck off. Well, that's certainly going to be one for the history books when people look back at this someday. So here is Elon's poll in the quest for peace, trying to just be a nice guy, uses the platform for purposes of good and to kind of get people thinking and put out a reasonable argument here, saying that with the peace, maybe we should redo the elections of the annexed regions under United Nations supervision, and Russia leaves if that is the will of the people. Yes or no, saying this is highly likely to be the outcome in the end and just a question of how many die before then. Now this here's the ambassador here saying the only outcome is that no Ukrainian will ever buy your fucking Tesla crap. So good luck to you. So not even like a, hey, you know what, I'm not really thinking that's a good idea, but you know, we could at least discuss it. We could sit at the table like adults. No, he just says fuck off is my very diplomatic reply to you. Now Ukrainian President Zelensky also chimed in to attack Elon with his own poll, saying, and he got 2 million, 2.5 million almost people that participated, but of course he got overwhelmingly with a 78.8% that support Ukraine. Later, Elon tweeted out this map of Ukraine and showing some of the Russian-leaning regions, and so that's part of the problem, is that the people in the eastern part are more aligned with Russian values, not really digging the corruption of Ukraine, and they don't like the way that they're treated by this new regime, so they'd rather be a part of Russia. And there was a referendum passed last weekend showing these different regions that were ready to join with Putin, as opposed to sticking around with the what they feel is a corrupt Zelensky regime and people being terrorized by the Azov neo-Nazi battalion. So Elon came out with another very reasonable poll, just saying, hey, let's try this. If the will of the people who live in that Donbass and Crimea should decide whether they're part of Russia or Ukraine, to which 59% said yes. So barely. That means 40% think that these people who live in these regions, as I'm pointing out here in the blue, should have no choice in the matter. They should just belong to Ukraine because people said so. And to which I tweeted myself, amazing how many participants in this poll think that those people shouldn't even have a choice. Just sounds like more flaming fascism from the Ukraine and blue wave cult followers, because it is. I mean, none of these people would actually... It's easy to just anonymously vote in a poll, but if you were going to explain your answer, I think most of them would probably struggle. But then warmonger Lindsey Graham came in, attacked Musk for being dumb and threatening Elon's Tesla company, and here's the response. With all due respect to Elon Musk, and I do respect him, I would suggest he needs to understand the facts of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Suggesting we end the Russian invasion by simply giving Russia parts of Ukraine after all the suffering is dumb. Now, obviously, this is a complex issue, but the country of Ukraine in its current form has not been around that long. And some of these people are probably feeling buyer's remorse if they even had a choice to begin with. And those eastern and southern regions do want to be be a part of Russia, and that's what they have voted for if you believe the polls. And now with Ukraine trying to warm up with NATO, it's threatening Russia's security. So they decided to go in, invade, and they just want these regions. They're not trying. A lot of the people are trying to spin this as, oh, if we give Russia these parts, and they're going to go and invade Poland next, or they're going to go for world domination. And there's nothing to make that case. So it seems on the surface that there should be a path to world peace, but you're not hearing that from the left or the neocons like Lindsey Graham. It's basically no negotiation. It's all going to be Ukraine, everyone against Russia, or you're a bad person, apparently. Even a reasonable guy like Elon Musk is totally under fire. So Lindsey continues, if you want peace in Ukraine, which we all do. Yeah, no, we don't. We know you don't, Lindsey. You love the wars. You can't get enough of that stuff. But he's saying simply demand that Russia honor the boundaries they agreed to in 1994 and withdraw their forces. Now, this could have happened in 94. That might have been a big deal. Maybe Crimea and Donbass wanted to be part of Ukraine, try this new experiment. Russia was kind of a different country back then. That was right after the fall of the old USSR, Soviet Union. And so, but now, after all the years later, they're like, you know what? I don't think Ukraine has been any better to us. We would rather go align with Russia. And is that okay for them to do that? So Lindsey's going, if Elon and others want the world to continue to be in chaos, then by all means capitulate to Putin and reward his aggression. But while we're at it, this is where the threats come in. Maybe the Congress should revisit the electric vehicle tax credit boondoggle. So yeah, take that, Elon. You want to go running your mouth with these polls? You dare question the regime? So there you have it, an indirect threat to Elon Musk just for simply trying to find a way to broker peace. And this is what happens. And now here's another angle on it. Now Biden has announced another $625 million for more Ukraine defense aid in the Zelensky phone call. So they just keep stacking up money when we could use that here at home. The White House has continued its strong stance and denunciations against Russia's sham referendums in Ukraine's east, now being formalized in Russian parliament, giving up another $625 million of our taxpayer money for assistance to Ukraine. The new aid package, which brings the total defense assistance pledged by the U.S. to a whopping $16.8 billion. Biden and Harris vowed the U.S. will never recognize Russia's purported annexation of Ukrainian territory, and that President Biden pledged to continue supporting Ukraine as it defends itself from Russian aggression for as long as it takes. So with all of the domestic issues that we have here, and then Florida just getting slammed by this hurricane, people struggling, and they're sending billions of our tax dollars to Ukraine, where it just basically goes into a black hole and disappears. All of this weapons, all this money, and people are tired of it. And it's just going to get worse, and they don't seem to care at all about world peace, or maybe saving money, or maybe America first and dealing with that before we go help other countries. So something is very wrong with this picture, and it's sad to see so many people just blindly supporting Ukraine. Maybe that's because no one talks about ending the Ukraine war for fear of being labeled a traitor. And that's when Glenn Greenwald, a reasonable liberal, was talking to a reasonable conservative in Tucker Carlson, talking about this very issue. It's fascinating. It's noted that Monday that talks to de-escalate or end the conflict are virtually non-existent because the legacy media and political elites have nurtured an atmosphere where to do so is considered unpatriotic. And you saw the massive backlash against Elon with their weird cult-like support of Ukraine for no reason, the most corrupt country in Europe, with all of its own problems. But people don't care about that. They probably don't even know much about it. They just want to feel like they're part of the club, I guess. It's a cult. There's no debate about whether we should be sending huge amounts of money there and risking the lives of American citizens through the possibility of a nuclear war. Yeah, is this really worth destroying the planet over because some of these people would rather join Russia? We could save our money, stay out of it. That would be nice, but I'm not sure when or if that's going to happen as we continue to push towards World War III. So we're in for a weird time. We shall see how this continues to develop. But thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next time.